Alright, with meta rising on the horizon, it is time to start theory crafting decks and sort of ideas of what the meta could look like. So that's what this video is going to be. There's not going to be any actual gameplay. It's just going to be me talking about what I think is interesting or cool or what we might see in the next meta. I hope you enjoy regardless, even though there's no gameplay. But yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so you may have already seen the new cards. If you haven't already, head on over to Pokemon Zones and you can take a look at all the cards yourself. We're not going to be covering absolutely all of them in detail. We are just going to be covering sort of a little bit of ones. So Mega Altarian, obviously first, Mega Harmony, 40 damage, plus 30 more for each of your bench Pokemon. This is basically going to be the new Arceus. And of course, we also have comments here. Play this with Aegislash and it gets 190, 210 with red. We are actually going to be talking about Aegislash later, which I think is going to be a very, very good card to be using. Obviously, 190 HP. Very, very hard to take down, even against the Crimson Storm Charizard, I think is what it's called. One from Genetic Apex that is 200. You put a Slap a Giant Cape on this and it will survive, which is, you can't really say for most of the cards that we're going to be talking about. So that Charizard from Genetic Apex might be actually be seeing a lot of play, especially because of this item right here, the Flame Patch. Attach a fire energy from your discard pile to your active Pokemon. This is going to allow Genetic Apex Charizard to go absolutely crazy. If we can get that pulled up actually. Crimson Storm Charizard, discard 2 fire energy from this Pokemon. If you're going to be discarding 2 energy, you can essentially just play this and get an energy from your energy zone to attack again for 200 damage. That is going to be absolutely freaking insane. The Flame Patch, I think, is going to be best for cards like Crimson Storm Charizard and Infernape, I think. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that gets used. I think we could potentially see Crimson Storm Charizard coming back with Sylveon just to make the evolutions a lot more consistent. Maybe even with a Twinkle Call, as we saw with the Stokezard, but this time around with just the Flame Patch and the normal good old charging the old-fashioned way is definitely a possibility. Maybe even Magby as well we could see. And now moving on to Mega Gyarados. I was very excited to see Mega Gyarados. I was a little bit disappointed. We have Mega Gyarados, 4 energy, Mega Blaster to attack for 140 damage. Discard the top 3 cards from your opponent's deck. Very, very nice. But of course, with the discarding cards, that means essentially you want to get these things early. You want to get Mega Gyarados online as soon as possible so you can start discarding your opponent's entire hand, making it impossible to play. There's a card, the Jellicent here, for a Bouncing Body. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack, take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench. This can help to charge Mega Gyarados very fast, but not sure it's going to be fast enough just because it is a Jellicent, so you do have to get that evolution online. And so the fact that it's not a basic Pokemon like Mantike that can just put an energy onto your bench, I'm not sure it's going to see as much play as like Mantike and Gyarados. And of course, if we're going to be talking about Gyarados, we also talk about the new Magikarp 3 energy. Put a random card from your deck that evolves from this Pokemon onto this Pokemon to evolve it. So essentially, you just charge this Magikarp on the bench, you bring him out, use Waterfall Evolution, and you get your Mega Gyarados EX. The turn right after that, you're at 4 energy, you start discarding. So I think Mega Gyarados EX and Manaphy is going to be a very linear sort of meta duo. And of course, since you need a way to beat Oricorio, maybe you just throw in some other kind of Pokemon in there just to deal with that, and maybe even a Repel, which I'm actually going to talk about as well. And now Mega Blaziken, beautiful card. Mega Burning for 2 energy, 120 damage, discard a fire energy from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. So essentially attacking 140 damage for 2 energy, not bad at all, but it is a stage 2. So Mega Blaziken is going to be potentially very, very good. You might see a lot of play, only 1 retreat cost as well with 210 HP, more than enough to survive the Crimson Storm Charizard for 1 hit, but it's still not really that strong enough to take it out. Unless you can use maybe Red to bring it up to 160 damage, and then maybe with the burn after 2 turns, it might be enough. But of course, this Charizard EX is only a EX, it's not a Mega, so getting rid of this Charizard does not end the game. So this could be potentially very, very good, this Charizard. Now, Pinsir EX, the Dark Horse. I think Pinsir EX is going to be a lot better than people realize. Let me explain to you why. You can build a deck kind of like this. Pinsir with a baby Pokemon to charge him up. Pinsir EX, of course, is a basic Pokemon. It does not need an evolution like some of these other cards do. So you can just put him straight down and start swinging for damage once he's ready. So with a baby Pokemon like Pichu, you get on the first turn, you get Pinsir up to 1 energy. The turn after that, you get him up to 2, and then on your 3rd turn, you start attacking for 80 damage. Absolutely massive. With Will, of course, or with just a lucky coin flip, you're doing 150, which is absolutely huge. Of course, we have Kartana on here just to get rid of any Oricorio that we're dealing with, and a Repel to maybe maneuver around a second Oricorio if need be. We also have the Squirt Bottle, just as I was talking about the Charizard from before, is going to be absolutely deadly against these EXs. Maybe having the Squirt Bottle might help, mitigate that a little bit. But maybe even a card like Team Rocket could come in huge clutch against that Charizard instead of the Squirt Bottle. Of course, with the Squirt Bottle being an item, it is just going to be a little bit more flexible. We also have a red card just to deal with any evolutions we're going to be going up against. Will, of course, as I just mentioned, to get those coin flips guaranteed. We have red to do as much damage as possible, and Erica and the Leaf Cape for as much sustainability as possible. Now the Leaf Cape is going to be bringing Pinsir up to 200 HP. Insane. And with the sustainability of Erica, oh my gosh, this is going to be absolutely incredible. I think Pinsir is going to be really underlooked in this new meta, but I think he's going to be very, very strong, especially because you're going to have cards like Mega Absol, which Pinsir one-shots. Pinsir one-shots Mega Absol, and of course a one-shot against a Mega is going to be absolutely huge for winning these games as fast as possible. And since we're already here, I might as well talk about Mega Absol EX. 2 Energy, Darkness Claw, 80 damage. Your opponent reveals their hands. Choose a supporter card from there and discard it. Huge. But I'm not sure it's going to be that insane. Using a supporter card to discard is actually very, very useful against like Professor Oak, or maybe if your opponent even has like a Sabrina or a Cyrus. Or you might even be able to pair this with Silver to get rid of 2 supporters at the same time. And of course with the Dark Pendant, oh my gosh, you are just going to be annihilating your opponent's hand. It might even be better. Absol might even be a better or more consistent discarder than Gyarados EX. So we're just going to have to see with that. I think some people might be able to find something interesting or interesting ways to play them. Now, Mega Ampharos, the latest of the Megas. We have a deck here with that plays Raikou and Mega Ampharos. Of course, Raikou is just here to make this as consistent as possible. We want to be drawing these cards as fast as possible, going through our hand, so we can get this Mega Ampharos online as soon as we can. We also have Oricorio just to deal with any, if we go up against another Mega Pokemon. We also have Zeraora, Zeraora to just be getting this energy as fast as possible. Of course, with the Elemental Switch and the Electrical Cord, could it be huge? You just attach, the Electrical Cord to Raikou or something, and then you just bring all that energy over to the Ampharos to just start absolutely sweeping the end game here. Of course, Raikou and Ampharos both attack the bench, and so I didn't think it'd really be too necessary to run Cyrus, but you could even get rid of one of these Electrical Cords for another one, since you are going to be drawing through your deck very fast. You could even sacrifice a Cyrus for maybe one of these guys, You also don't even have to really run Flappy, so that could also be an option with the Rare Candy. And now, I'm not running a baby Pokemon with this, just because if the baby Pokemon goes down, and you want to bring Raikou out, and then Raikou goes down, you just lose the game. Raikou's going to be going down a lot of the time in these battles, so just to get as much value as possible, we have Raikou in the front going down, and then you bring out Ampharos to clean up shop later. I think that's definitely, a pretty good possibility to be going high. And of course Zeraora is going to be just accelerating how fast we're able to get these wins. And now, moving on from the Megas. There's a lot of Pokemon on here. Burfro, I'm not sure is going to be too crazy. We have a couple of supports as well. We can just run through them really quickly. This Citrus Berry. At the end, it is a Pokemon tool, so you attach it at the end of each turn. If the Pokemon this card is attached to has half maximum HP or less remaining, you'll 30 damage from it. If you do, discard this card. Very nice. Honestly, not bad at all. It's a nice little heal to have, and then it discards itself, so you're able to attach another, potentially even another Citrus Berry, or maybe even like a Giant Cape, or a Rocky Helmet, or a Poison Barb. This could be very, very nice to have. And of course, healing 30 damage isn't too bad. It's not exactly the most, but it still brings up a lot of HP. Now we have May, the next supporter trainer card. You put 2 random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. For each Pokemon you put into your hand in this way, choose a Pokemon to shuffle from your hand into your deck. So this is basically just an updated Pokemon communication that allows you to swap 2 Pokemon instead of just 1. So that could be interesting. We also have Marlin, heal 70 damage from one of your Turtle Pokemon or Jellicent. I'm not sure this is going to see too much play unless we get like a really good Caracosta. So Marlin, get out of here, bro. But it is 70. Oh no. Even more sustainability for water decks, dude. Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that until now. And now the next one, put 2 random basic Pokemon with 50 HP or less from your deck into your hand. This could be very, very good for getting some of these other Megas like if you want to get Magikarp or even Torchic, I think I saw Torchic on here, yeah, or even Torchic into your hand as fast as possible. Of course, we got a Growlithe, we got a nice little Pancham. We also have Goomy, which basically confirms that Goodra is coming to the game, baby. Ability, Sticky Membrane, as long as this Pokemon's in the active spot, attacks used by your opponent's active cost one energy more. Not bad at all, especially because it is a basic Pokemon, so it's not like Stoutland where you have to get that evolution online. We talked about Jellicent. Now we have Hydreigon. I love Hydreigon. I think somebody in the comments mentioned this. Is this Power Cap Rampardos? This might be insane. Hydreigon is kind of a Giratina Annihilator. He one-shots Giratina for basically only one energy. If you want to use his Roar in Unison, obviously you can, but there's not really a point in attaching energy to Hydreigon until you attack, because he just discards it all. So maybe, I think just having that one energy on Hydreigon could be very, very good. You know, it might see a lot of play. Maybe even with Umbreon EXs could work, but we're just gonna have to see. I think maybe some people even might just run Hydreigon decks exclusively, you know, just because he could be very, very fast option to get some of these wins with only one energy for 130 damage, sorry, is absolutely incredible. Now, of course, we have the stage 1 Pokemon, Lilligant. Toughness Aroma, each of your grass Pokemon gets plus 20 HP. Very, very nice. Of course, these grass Pokemon getting insane amounts of HP with the giant cape or the leaf cape. And now, of course, with Toughness Aroma, you could see some things, maybe even Venusaur EX, just to get this insane, you know, healing and HP numbers up. Aegislash. Aegislash is freaking broken. Aegislash is a stage 2, but that's not really going to matter because I'm going to explain why in a second. Ability Curse Metal. Attacks used by your Psychic and Steel Pokemon do plus 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is going to be insane. We already have a couple of comments here. Psychic buffs, Giratina going to be even better. I'm not sure it is going to be played with Giratina. Let me explain why. And Solgaleo, let me explain why. I think you might even be able to see something like this, where you might see Espeon Sylveon coming back with Aegislash on the bench to doing insane amounts of damage. Espeon Sylveon, of course, runs Sylveon. Sylveon's going to allow you to go through your hand extremely fast, and so of course that's going to make your Aegislash evolutions amazingly consistent. And of course, we only have 3 EVs. There could be a couple of options here where you could even run one Espeon instead, and then put the other Espeon on here, just so we can beat Oricorio. Let me see if I can pull that one up. Yeah, you might even want to run this Espeon instead, the energy one, just so you can beat these Oricorios that, of course, counters this. I'm not sure you'd want to run Steel Energy with this deck, just to make it more consistent. But yeah, this is definitely, I think this is going to be an amazingly strong combination. Shout out to someone in my chat that actually mentioned this as well, that if Aegislash would make Espeon good, that sort of brought this whole idea. And of course, we only have 17 cards listed here, because we want to have room for the first stage and second stage of Aegislash. We could even potentially see Umbreon EX come back, because Umbreon, Umbreon's ability Dark Chase allows you to bring one of your opponent's damage bench Pokemon from the bench to the active spot. So if your opponent starts off with a Mega Evolution, you could absolutely just cut that off instantly, or you could just bring them back later in the game if they try to retreat out, of course, to safety. They are not going to be safe against Umbreon EX or against the Greninja Cyrus combination. So just to clarify some of the older cards that might become relevant all of a sudden. Charizard EX, of course, 200 damage is going to be absolutely massive against these Megas. Umbreon EX, because it allows you to bring back any of these Megas that might have retreated earlier in the game, just to bring them back. You're not escaping and to be attacking for 80 damage. Of course, we also have this Umbreon, the stage 1 that doesn't allow basic Pokemon to attack. We could see things happen where you denying like Pinsir or even Mega Absol. If you get other Mega Basics, that could actually be huge as well. Greninja, of course, pairs very, very nicely with Cyrus to be able to bring these Megas back. Greninja, of course, has been relevant literally ever since the Rare Candy came out. Greninja, I think, has been at the top of the meta for a very, very long time. So Greninja might still be relevant even in these sort of, even in this new expansion that's going to be coming out. But regardless, I am extremely excited for this. I'm so excited to get some new cards and very powerful cards, very unique cards. So we're going to see how people play them. Let's see how the Mega, sort of how this this set develops. We've only ever seen like a tiny fraction of everything that's going to be coming out. So I am totally looking forward to that. So yeah, I hope you guys are as excited as I am for this new set to come out in a couple of days. Hopefully it is as earth-shattering or game-breaking as I hope it is, just because I want to see some of this mix-ups start happening. I want to see a lot of this viability go crazy. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a good old like, subscribe if you'd be so kind, and that's going to be it from me. See ya.